Welcome into the Landon Tengwall show. Today we have a special preseason preview. We are here with walk-on red shirts Jake and William talking Penn State versus Clemson. We previewed the defense, both defenses over on their channel, so make sure you guys go check that out on walk-on red shirts. And now it is time to dive into the offense with the boys. How are we feeling about it?
I'm feeling great. I'm ready for this. I'm ready. We're going to war, Landon. We're going to the war. This is the paper war before the real war because I think it's coming.
We were talking about in the defense episode. We just have this just feeling that a Clemson Penn State playoff game is lurking in the near future, and I, for one, could not be more excited because that head coach quarterback battle, just in general, two pretty good offensive lines. I think that could be pretty fun.
Hear me out. What if you guys both fall flat on your face and it's a Pop-Tart Bowl? Do we still all go to it?
Absolutely. Yes. That was the goal. And it's the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's the New Year's 7.
Yeah, we'll get a picture of William with with the Pop-Tart, and then all will be good.
Wait, exactly. Hold on. What's your favorite Pop-Tart flavor? And why, if it's not brown sugar cinnamon, you're a scumbag? And okay.
It absolutely is.
Wait, if that's not your favorite, you have to be a serial killer.
I totally agree. I don't mind the strawberry. I think it's good. Do you guys?
Strawberries tend to be mine.
Strawberry solid. Do you guys heat them up at all?
It depends. Sometimes.
Okay, I can respect.
I can go either way. I'm a two-way player. I can bat left and right. I can heat up and I can go cold. I can raw dog them. Respectfully.
Is there any other meaning than?
Yeah, when you don't.
We just got monetized, William. What the hell's going on?
No, like you don't heat them up. You don't cook them. You don't put them in the toaster. They're raw. They're like a raw hot dog. A hot dog. What are you meaning?
Do you eat a raw hot dog?
Yeah, are you eating raw hot dogs over there? Are you boiling your hot dogs?
We're built different in the South, buddy.
Yeah, Clemson, I guess you guys are a little weird.
When it's 100 degrees outside, your hot dogs cook before you can put it in your mouth. You don't worry about it. Okay. Sorry, Landon. Let's go ahead and jump in this thing.
Yeah, it's time to get into this offense. We'll let Jake. Jake is our moderator. Unfortunately, Ohio State fan. Sorry, guys, but it is
unfortunately. Fortunately, I'm trying to do my best to be as unbiased as possible here. Well, I want to save quarterbacks for last because I think that's the most contentious debate, at least among everybody. But so we'll start here with running back, and I think this one is going to be the most obvious. As much as William might think that he might have a chance here, obviously Penn State's got Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen, both have a potential to break the Penn State rushing record this year, which I'd be interested to see which one actually comes out on top. I think Singleton's obviously the home run hitter, but Kaytron Allen just seems like he's been a consistent back over the last couple of years. And then Clemson, nobody knows who's going to be their running back. It might be a wide receiver for all they care. So Landon, I mean, this is clearly a Penn State's.
I'll take it away here in the sense of that Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton, as you said, Nick Singleton is 1,055 yards, and I think Kaytron Allen's like 1,022 yards. Or actually, excuse me, flip those around. Nick has a little bit less to go than Kaytron. I think they could both end up number 1 and number 2. I think Nick will probably finish out number 1, especially if we play deeper into the playoffs. We're going to talk about the offensive line here in a little bit. I think Penn State has the best offensive line in college football, if not the best. It's top 3. And I think just where we are going this year, we are going to run the ball. We are not going to shy away from that. We also, which we're going to get to tight ends too, but we have great blocking tight ends. That is an emphasis that has been put on these tight ends here for a while at Penn State. So just all of that put together, we're going to start to really mix in. Had Nicky talk about really wanting to get in that outside zone game, allowing Nick Singleton and even Kaytron Allen to get in space and get your best ball carriers the ball in space and let them do work. I'm excited to see these guys this year. I was blocking for them when they first got to college. It's been fun to watch them grow. They have been ballers since they stepped on campus. I don't think there's a better running back room in the country, and just sit back and watch these guys just be workhorses all year. That's my pitch, Jake.
That's insane, by the way, that they can end 1 and 2 with the amount of running back history that Penn State has. I mean, especially recently with Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders. I mean, just to name 2. I mean, they've had some stud, Larry Johnson. I mean, that is unbelievable to me.
It is kind of crazy. The biggest thing is like everybody that has done it was they either did like 3 years or they did 4 years or they only played like 2. Like Saquon, obviously, if he would have stayed for another year, he would have destroyed the record, but he didn't play when he was young. Same thing, go back to like 94, we had Kajana Carter, who's the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. he only played 3 years and only started 2. So that is because the guy who has the record right now, Evan Royster, a lot of people, especially if you're like Clemson fans or other, you probably don't even know who Evan Royster is, but he played like 4 or 5 years and was like the starter every single year. So but I'm excited. We actually have a student bookstore downtown. Shout out to Student Bookstore, sponsor of the show. And they have on the steps, on the left side of the steps, they have the running back top 10. On the right side, they have the tackler top 10. And so we're actually doing a program where during the year, every Sunday morning, where I'm going to help basically elect a fan to come down and move Katron Allen and Nick Singleton up the list.
Oh, cool.
Bookstore steps. So yeah, shout out Student Bookstore.
You hear that, Jake? At Penn State, they do school well. They do school as well. It's not where you don't come there just to play football. So they have athletic podcasts in the bookstore. Cardale Jones would never.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
What he would do is he would take the new college football 26 and go to a hospital and beat some kid by like 100 points.
Yeah, where Landon's helping out somebody, a fan letting him move up the thing, he would let him come over and just get molly-whopped in the game. All right, I got my argument. Jake, and I think I'm going to sway you. And I'm not going to talk about talent.
Good luck.
I'm not going to talk about talent. You kind of alluded to this earlier. You said, hey, we might have a wide receiver playing running back. Well, hear me out. Like Landon said, they're building the team to run the football. They've got 2 of the best running backs in Penn State history. They've got some blocking tight ends. They've got some war daddies on that offensive line. Dawkins is one of my favorite offensive linemen. And then who's the guard or whatever that y'all would put out at wide receiver? And
Venga.
That should be – he should be put in prison for what he was doing to some of those guys, coming and cracking on them. But freaking awesome. I love Penn State's offensive line, always do. But hear me out. When teams play Penn State, what are they going to do? They're going to load that box, baby. They're going to put 8 guys in there. They're going to put 9 guys in there when they're playing teams like Iowa and Wisconsin, whoever. When they're deep in the Midwest, the cornbread-fed guys, they're going to be loading that box. They're going to say, Drew Allen, throw the ball to Trevor Pena and freaking Kyron Hudson, right? You know what's not going to happen at Clemson? You're not going to be able to put 8 or 9 guys in the box unless we're on the 1-yard line, because we have 6 receivers. So I'm going to talk about the receivers a little early. We've got 6 receivers who could be number ones at almost anywhere. Realistically, we have 4 that could be number ones anyway, but I'm gonna say 6. That you cannot load the box, because then you're just giving them free reign. We've got speed guys, we've got deep guys, we've got tall guys, we've got small guys. You cannot load the box. You've got a guy in Gideon Davidson. I think he was the 4th best running back, maybe the 9th best running back. One of those round numbers with a line on it. Coming in as a true freshman. Then you have Adam Randall, who was a wide receiver converted to running back, played some running back against Texas. I believe he had 60 or 70 yards in that game with a big 45-yard run in the second half. So a guy who is built big, he's 235 pounds, 6'2", can catch the ball really well, just has battled injury issues and just hasn't been able to crack the lineup at Clemson at wide receiver. Newsflash, it's really tough when you have 5 stars all over the place at wide receiver. Penn State would never. And
you're right. We don't have the money to do that.
but anyway, I think because of that, like, we have a chance to statistically have better yards per carry and more touchdown production. I don't fully believe in this argument, but I'm putting it out there, Jake.
Yeah, you want to know what I really think?
I will go down swinging.
Yeah, you can swing. You struck out on 3 pitches, though.
But Nick Singleton and Katron Allen are also going to transfer to Clemson in the July transfer portal window. So we have that going for us too.
Oh yeah, in the new window. Yeah. Now that Dabo brings in transfers.
portal god Dabo. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. I mean, Singleton and Allen. I mean, Landon said it best. They're arguably the best running back room in the country. I don't think there's too much debate on that. When you've got a 1-2 punch like that, it's hard to match up.
Well, who's arguing? I mean, the only people arguing with Penn State about that running back room are Penn State's rivals. I don't think anybody is really.
Notre Dame is the one argument, really, with Jeremiah Love and those
guys. Jeremiah Love is the only other one that people can really make an argument for, because he's an obviously incredibly talented running back. But when you look at the production that Singleton and Allen have continued to do year after year, game after game, it stands the test right now. Podcast. The other one that I think is going to be a pretty obvious answer here is, let's go over to the wide receivers. Clemson's got some studs over there. Bryant Wesco, Antonio Williams, TJ Moore. I mean, those dudes had 904, 708, and 651 yards respectively. And a couple of those guys were not expected to be the number one in the starting rotation there last year, and they ended up being some pretty phenomenal wide receivers. Now, Penn State did revitalize the wide receiver room, bringing in it was Devontae Ross, Kyron Hudson, and then Trevor Pena, my bad, from Syracuse. 3 obviously productive guys. Ross had over 1,000 yards. Pena was the excellent slot receiver up at Syracuse. And Kyron Hudson just seemed like he made freaky catches at USC all last year. So I don't want to say it's absolutely, but I think there's a little bit of question there from Penn State. And Landon, I'll let you take over here because obviously it's a full new room. It's new guys that Drew Aller has to get experience with, get some repetition with, but it's not like they're bringing in 3 guys that have never played before.
Yeah, where we sit right now, Penn State has truly neglected the wide receiver position up until this year. 2021, the wide receivers had about 200 catches. And then this past year in 2024, the wide receivers had about 100 catches. So we're literally talking a 50%. And each year it went down like 15 to 20 catches. And like slowly and slowly, all we did was show love to our running backs and tight ends. And it got worse and worse and worse.
Hey, and to plug Landon's show, you did a whole study on this in January or February, correct?
I did it, right? It was like the 2 days after the Notre Dame game. It's actually, I think it's the highest viewed video on my channel.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Thank you very much. I'm probably the most proud of that video out of any video. And I just gave that's what we did. We have given our wide receivers no love. And I think the tipping point really was that Notre Dame game, the 0 catches. And it was like, all right, we got to find a way to change this around. So we go out, completely reconstruct the wide receiver room. Most of our guys leave. I think we had like 5 or 6 wide receivers leave and, bring in everybody you mentioned, Jake. And I think it fits well. Kyron Hudson, obviously on the outside, Ross on the outside, and then Trevor Pena in the slot. Guys that have all seen a lot of targets. And I think Drew Aller has been hankering for a wide receiver with a little bit of talent. Now, the other piece of that, too, is I think Andy Kotelnicki is going to want to include these wide receivers a lot more, mainly because Tyler Warren is now in an Indianapolis Colts uniform catching passes from and maybe Anthony Richardson, who really knows if that's ever going to work out.
he might get tired when it's time to pass it to him.
That's a good point. I would honestly just stick with Daniel Jones if I'm Tyler Warren. But I think that's going to be a huge emphasis. Kotelnicki is going to want to get these wide receivers involved. And if Drew Aller, we're going to run the ball, but if Drew Aller wants to have a Heisman campaign, going to have to rely on these guys to get it done. And like I said, I think they all have those unique talents where Trevor Pena can be that safety blanket for Drew Aller, especially over the middle of the field. Ross is your burner. He's going to be able to stretch the field, throw those deep posts that Drew Aller loves to throw. And then obviously you got Hudson, who can go up and kind of be that jump ball guy, make those acrobatic catches and bail you out on those 50-50 balls. Bad voice crack there at the end. Damn it.
Mine's coming. Don't worry. I'm still in puberty.
3 kids still in puberty, William.
That's right. Something's not adding up.
No.
Go
ahead, William. Talk about your receiving core.
So with the running backs, I started with the receivers. With the receivers, I'm going to start off with the running backs. No, I'm just kidding. So you want to talk about a deep, deep room. You talk about Clemson Dream. I think top to bottom, or in terms of the top of the lineup, I think Ohio State, no questions asked, has the best receiving room in the country. But I think Clemson, in terms of top to bottom, is in the conversation of best receiving room in the country. And I don't think that's blowing smoke. You have Antonio Williams, who's been a guy. He ended up being almost the number 1 guy in Cade Klubnik's first year. His freshman year, gets hurt his second year, comes back last year and just has a phenomenal year with 904 receiving yards. We haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2020. Amari Rodgers, excuse me. So you have Antonio Williams coming back for his senior year, which was huge. You've got Bryant Wesco, he was a 5-star. They bumped him down to a 4-star, which was rigged. But 4-star guy, just a burner. He put on 20 pounds, it looked like, this offseason. I mean, the dude looked gangly last year, pretty long, lean. He's got some girth to him now. And so you're not going to just be tackling him. You're not going to be able to bop him. I've made too many too many wrong references.
There's been a lot of crazy references. If you watch the defensive episode over on Walk on Red Shirts, it got William, you might need to be put in like the penalty box or something for some of these egregious references. Sorry, continue on with your wide receiver.
We do need a penalty box for this podcast, Jake. Yeah. We need your help.
I'll make sure to mark it as explicit when I post this because there's definitely some references.
Sorry, not purposefully. That's just, it's just who I am, guys. But Bryant Wesco can beat people deep. He's got great hands. He's able to track the ball well. He did a decent enough job as a blocker, even being the size he was last year, putting the weight on. I'm excited to see what he does. And he had 708 yards, and that was with missing 3 games last year. TJ Moore came in late. He didn't start as many games as Bryant Wesco did, still finished with 651 yards, and everyone remembers the Texas performance where he went off. Had 8 catches over 100 yards. It was just phenomenal. And he was dicing up. I think Texas was the number 1 pass defense in the country. Just diced him up. Those are the first 3 guys. Also, Antonio Williams is 5'10", Bryant Wesco is 6'3", and TJ Moore is 6'3". So they've got height to them. Now you go to
5'10" isn't tall. I'm just pointing that out.
It's tall when that's the shortest guy, Jacob. Listen here.
Right, we're giving love to short kings out there tonight.
Now we're going to the depth. You go talk. Listen, I'm 6'6". Anything under 6'3", I kind of get confused and just think everybody's the same height at that point. Landon, can you agree?
Yeah, 6'6" as well. Repping over here, I'm right there with you, William.
We hate planes. We hate planes. We hate desks. Short ceiling houses. Don't do the 8-foot ceilings with a
really low sat toilet seat.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Shower heads suck. Anyway, you get to the 3 guys behind that. So, Antonio Williams is hurt. He's banged up. He's tired. He just ran a 9 route. Needs a breather. We have Tyler Brown, who was the freshman number 1 guy 2 years ago. So last year, he gets hurt, doesn't play very much. 2 years ago, he was the dude. He came onto the scene, was really, really good. Had 531 yards as a freshman. Again, banged up last year. Only had 6 catches last year for not many yards. I think 12 yards. Like just was used very sparingly. He's now back up and a guy who can do it. Cole Turner is allegedly the fastest guy on the team and can beat people deep. And he's made some acrobatic catches. You go back to the ACC championship game from 2022. He makes the acrobatic catch against UNC. Last year against Virginia Tech, he goes up and just makes a great body adjustment in the air, catches the ball on the dude. He's another guy who could be a depth piece somewhere else. Could be a 2, could be a 3. He comes back to Clemson to be the 5-6 guy. Then you got Portal King Dabo's project and Tristan Smith. And this guy was a star at FCS Southeast Missouri. So like a small school, yes. I think a lot of that had to do with grades. 6'5", had 974 yards, I believe, as a receiver at FCS. I'm not just blowing smoke. So everyone crowned him after the spring game. He played really, really well. I go back to my time there. My freshman year, Mike Williams had just come on too. He was a freshman too. And Dabo would dog him during practice. He was all over him, coaching him up. He was coaching him up about everything. Hey, why are you stepping on that blade of grass instead of this blade of grass? You're not a 5-star anymore. You're on the roster just like everybody else, just dogging him, on him, everything, calling him out on the microphone. Mike. I went to practice. He was doing the same thing with Tristan Smith. You know what that tells me? That tells me that Dabo knows he's got a dog, and all he's got to do is get it out of him. If you have a 6'5" receiver who can beat people deep, and you can rotate him out, and he doesn't have to play the whole entire game, you've got a dude. And then just to throw slight shade at Penn State, just because we're on Landon's show, I have to throw some shade at y'all. Penn State doesn't have a receiver that's not Tyler Warren. So it's really difficult when you don't have a 6'5", 245-pound athletic beast. One of my favorite players in college football.
Who can play quarterback too?
Who can play everything. Who can play everything. So just to do some Tyler Warren glazing
we appreciate
to end this. Also, the 7th guy ended up getting moved to running back because that's how deep we are. I'm done.
I think this one's obvious. I think the point here goes to Clemson. I think the experience there, the depth overall. Now, it wouldn't shock me if the Penn State wide receivers show out. I really do like Pena. I think Pena is going to be the new best friend for Drew Aller. I think,
and I can't wait to see what Kotelnicki does with him. I think that's just, with the screen games that he likes to do, I think it's going to be beautiful. Sorry to cut you off, Jake. I'm just so excited to see that.
He's going to be his gadget guy for sure. Fun fact: we did not throw a single screen to our wide receivers last year. if you want to count like the little like bubble pass where you have like like the RPO, like we did one of those. We just pop it out to a wide receiver where the other wide receiver is blocking. But like we did not have one designed like wide receiver screen that we ran. Did not happen. It all went to Tyler Warren and the running back. So yeah, hopefully we get those guys involved. I'll have to concede this one as well.
Well, let's move over to the offensive line. I think both of these have some experienced offensive lines, but Landon, I'll let you go first here because you've got some big guys and a lot of experience here on your O-line and why you think that this could be one of the best O-lines in the country.
Let's go left to right here. Drew Shelton, left tackle, has been playing since his true freshman year, going into year 4, I guess. Lockdown doesn't get talked about enough. Barely gives up any sacks. Is just so solid. We're looking at left guard. That's going to be Vanga Ioane, the man they put in motion, the big Samoan that likes to just flatten people. Fun fact, actually keep an eye out. I'm doing a video on every single time we ran the play where we put him at wide receiver in motion. Fun fact, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. We average like 2.5 yards. It's good for Vanga. Clearly, everybody knows him now, and it was fun to watch him kill that UCLA guy. But as Jake knows, we took our best offensive lineman, and it was crunch time against Ohio State, and we put him at wide receiver for 4 plays in a row on the goal line.
He was doing a lot of running on that.
How tired he was after that. Koto Nikki, listen, brother, I love you. I love you dearly. But God damn it, don't ever do that again, okay?
Wait, what if the only wide receiver screen last year would have been to him?
It would have made sense for our wide receivers, I'm going to be honest with you. All right. So, but he is getting all-American looks at left guard as one of the best guards in college football. Really excited about him. Center, 6th year, Nick Dawkins, one of my best friends in the entire world, cousin of your boy, Brian Dawkins. Dawkins family goes really deep. What's
he doing up there then?
I know Deion Dawkins as well as a cousin, Bill's left tackle. Also, Karl Anthony Towns, also a cousin. Yeah, that family goes deep because that's Chocolate Thunder.
They are athletic freaks.
Yeah, they had like 10. I mean, there's some other dog. There were some other NFL players as well. I'm probably just
all started with my boy Brian Clemson. Penn State gets Clemson guys.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You guys are sharing is caring. Nick Dawkins is going to lead that offensive line. He is going to be just the key. He is the leader of the team, captain, all of that good stuff. Right guard, we are looking at most likely Cooper Cousins, who was basically a 5-star offensive lineman. He was our 6th. Yeah, a 5-star, finally. If you watch the defensive side, William was just talking about how Clemson has 5 stars just stashed across the roster. Meanwhile, we're kind of struggling in the NIL department over here. So that could be Cooper Cousins. Excited for his career. He's going to be a baller here. He's already kind of like the face of the media of Penn State. The other thing is we're sitting at right tackle right now. We had Anthony Donka, who is going to be a really, really good tackle. He gets hurt, bangs up his knee. Nolan Rucci transfers from Wisconsin, has a heck of a playoff run at right tackle, was dominating guys. We are now in a situation where we might have a right tackle battle between Anthony Donka and Nolan Rucci, but I am hearing whispers. The whispers are coming in. Anthony Donka may be kicked inside to right guard, and he is a absolute mauler. I mean, I'll just tell you this. Nolan Rucci did struggle at the beginning of the season when Anthony Donka got injured. We were averaging about 9 yards per carry behind Anthony Donka. Shout out to PFF Advanced Stats. When he got injured, we went down to like 2.5 yards per carry behind our right tackle. So putting that type of guy at right guard and then also slotting in Nolan Rucci at right tackle, everybody on the offensive line is, like 6'5", 320 pounds.
I was just about to say,
like,
your line is freaking huge.
Dawkins is 6'5" at center. It's going to be pretty absurd.
I would 6'8", so that brings the average up.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to face this offensive line. That's how I'm going to leave it. They have the 2 best backs in the nation to make them even look good. And yeah, everybody, if you line up in front of Penn State's offensive line, you're probably going to die.
And they have the best podcasting offensive lineman.
There we go. We have me to dissect their film and like kind of call them back. Nick Dawkins is one of my best friends. When we played Boise State, they just ran axe splits over and over and over at us. I gave him a little bit of crap. He respected it though.
Yeah, Penn State has a freaking dominant offensive line. I feel like in the Big Ten, if you play at Penn State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa, you're just going to be a dude at offensive line. It's not even fair. They just know how to recruit those guys. But if you go to the defensive episode and you go to the wide receiver section I just talked about, what I've been hitting on a lot and where I think Clemson does the best this year is depth. So Clemson ranks first in the country in retention, roster retention. So we live in this transfer portal era. We're able to keep guys who can start at multiple places and have them stay. So the biggest part of Clemson's offensive line is we have, I think, 7 or 8 guys who have played significant snaps and even started, which is not real. So I'm gonna go left to right like you. Left tackle, we have Tristan Lee, former 5-star guy.
Bang.
Plays left tackle. Struggled early on in his career. And then Matt Luke comes to town, and Matt Luke changed this dude's trajectory. Shout out to Robbie Caldwell. He was the offensive coordinator. Nope, that was two offensive line coaches before. Thomas Austin was before that. Thomas Austin, great guy too. But Matt Luke is just different. I remember watching Tristan Lee last year at a spring practice, and his set. One of the biggest things that Matt Luke teaches, and is really important, Landon can speak to this, is keeping your head out of blocks, but keeping your power. You start to dip your head in, you don't have any balance. But it's also tough to have power when you're punching back your ass. Well, pass blocking is how slow can you lose? Tristan Lee has some of the strongest hands I've ever seen. And when he hit people, it stunned them and they would stop. We call it shocking somebody. They would stop. Tristan Lee is a dude. Blake Miller, right tackle. He's probably the offensive lineman that everybody knows the most about, from Ohio, Strongsville, Ohio. Can just freaking play. I don't know what else to say. I think he's a preseason All-American, maybe second team All-American. Can freaking play. You've got Colin Sadler, who got hurt late last year, but he's been a rotational guy his entire career. He's older. He's played significant snaps. The dude's big. He can play. He can play guard. He can play center, and he's played some right tackle. I don't think he's actually played center, so he's played guard and he's played tackle. So he's one of those gadget guys who can play anywhere. Ryan Lithicum, Landon and I talked about him on our podcast a few weeks ago. Love the dude. Won the battle last year at center, and has become one of the most important pieces of this offensive line. The dude is so cerebral at offensive line. He did an excellent job of IDing the mic, making sure the offensive line was set up correctly, and getting the pass protection set up correctly. A lot of that goes with the quarterback, but the center plays a huge role in that. And if you don't have a good center who can ID the right guy and ID it correctly, and then set up pass prep correctly, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle a lot. Just watching him, I don't know him like that, and I haven't been in a film room with him, but just watching him on film, like the way the offensive line moved, a lot of that goes through the center. So watching him has just been awesome. Then you have a guy like Elijah Thurman. So Elijah Thurman last year played as a true freshman, had to play at tackle, even though we recruited him as a guard, and gave up 0 sacks against, who was the Virginia Tech guy who ended up getting drafted? Was that Gillette? Oh no, he had a double last name, and I'm forgetting his name.
I struggle to watch ACC football. I'm sorry, brother.
It's the best.
There wasn't much reason to watch Virginia Tech last year.
No, there wasn't at all.
Long story short, Virginia Tech had a defensive end last year who got drafted in the NFL. He was going up against Elijah Thurman, who was a true freshman. Elijah Thurman gave up 0 pressures. Just a freaking stud. I mean, the dude is from now that I'm trying to Strom Thurman. He's from Edgefield, South Carolina, that area. Just a freaking dog. I love watching him play football. Cut his dreads though, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Antoine Powell Rayland.
Yes. Shut his behind down.
6th round pick.
But NFL guy gets a true freshman.
NFL pick, but
wait, I just gotta interject real quick. Where's my boy Walker Parks at?
I'm coming.
Oh,
Don't worry.
My fault.
I'm coming. Mr. 6-year himself. So yes. Walker Parks next. He's another guy. He's played literally every position on the offensive line. Maybe he hasn't played left tackle. He's played left guard. He's played center. He's played right guard. He's played right tackle. He came in when Elijah Thurman broke his ankle against Louisville in the second play of the game, or maybe that was Pitt. Walker Parks is probably going to start this year at the guard position, probably right guard. The dude is just a stud, loves football. I've never met any offensive lineman who just wants to keep coming back to school, keeps wanting to stay in the weight room, and just wants to fight everybody. That is Walker Parks. That's Kentucky's own. The dude can he's just a freaking dude. And then you have Harris Sewell out of Texas. The dude played a lot of snaps last year. He was in the battle for the center position. Played a lot of significant snaps as a true freshman. He's now a junior. So we have a lot of depth at offensive line. I'm really excited to see what they can do. Talent-wise, I don't know if I can say we have the firepower that like a Shelton Lewis, like y'all have, or not Shelton Lewis.
Drew
What's the left
Shelton.
tackle's name? Drew Shelton. Sorry, Shelton Lewis is our defensive back. We don't have that kind of star power, but we've got dudes everywhere.
I think I'm going with Penn State here. I think that the one thing, though, is there's a lot of experience on both these offensive lines.
There really is.
Because at least from what I'm looking at, the projected as of right now, and you guys will be able to know if they're not actually the offensive lines, but there is 8 guys that are classified as seniors between the two teams that are projected to start. And, and then there's multiple guys that are 4th-year players. They're just not classified as seniors because of red shirts that are also projected to start. Like, both of these are going to be strong offensive lines, but I lean Penn State. Like Drew Shelton, like you said, I think he's going to be one of the best. Rucci played phenomenal. And then I know I've seen a ton about Cooper Cousins. He would be the youngest out of the 2 offensive lines to be the starter this year if that holds. And I know that there's a lot of excitement about him as well. But I'm going to give the nod to Penn State on this one.
One note I wanted to add to that I forgot to say. The experience of Clemson's offensive line, in that entire room, there's 99 career starts, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's 2nd or 3rd in the nation.
Couldn't get to 100.
Who is the team we talked about the other day, Jake, that had 106 in the Big 12?
Wow, Iowa State, maybe.
Talking Big 12.
Yeah, we talk it all, baby. We talk it all. We're red shirts. We got it. We got to dip our toes everywhere.
Yeah. All right. A lot of dipping. I do have to give a special shout out though to Ryan Linthicum and Tristan Lee. Those are both my guys from high school. Good guys. So I'm happy to see them balling out down there.
So moving over to tight ends, Tyler Warren was brought up here a little bit earlier. Obviously not at Penn State anymore. Best tight end in the country last year. Couldn't get him to stay, apparently. NIL couldn't get you to match the 14th overall pick somehow.
Couldn't get it done.
Couldn't get that part done.
Travesty that he went behind Colston Loveland, by the way. That is a travesty.
I couldn't believe that one. That's a Bears move if I've ever seen one. I'll tell you what.
Bears are going to Bears. Just put it that way.
How many great Bears tight ends have you heard of, and how many great tight ends for the Colts have you heard of? I can name one of the best tight ends in history in Dallas Clark that played for the Colts. Cannot name a Bears tight end that finished his career there. Greg Olson's probably the best one. He came and he's best known for his Panthers career.
Probably went to a better situation. Well, I wouldn't say better. We don't know what the quarterback is, but better organization, I'll call that. So, but anyways, Penn State's been known for tight ends over the last handful of years for sure. And I mean, they've recruited that position probably just as well as anybody else in the country. You want to talk about NIL, but recruiting, but tight end seems to be one spot lately that they've been hitting, or at least finding guys early as they shoot up the rankings. William, I don't know a thing about Clemson's tight ends. I'm not actually confident that they really use the tight end since Jake Branningstool is gone. So I'm probably going to – I already know which way I'm leaning, and Landon, just tell me why that the 7 tight ends that you guys have that are all insane athletes and why you're just going to run a full tight end set as one as the quarterback this year.
All we do is reload at tight end. That's all I'm going to say. Ty Howe, Letterman here, started at center for Penn State, took over for the tight ends after Tyler Bowen. Shout out Jake in the Ohio State. Tyler Bowen was absolutely my guy during my recruitment.
I heard that. He said the Ohio State. Y'all heard that.
I got to show a little bit of respect until we can beat them. I'm still watching Marcus Allen block a kick and take it back. Marcus Allen's been a fashion runway model for 7 years now, and we're still watching him return a kick. Oh, I guess block the kick. And God, I'm tired of it. All right. So right now where we sit, Luke Reynolds, 5-star, played a ton last year, coming into this year, going to be a superstar. Looks just like George Kittle when he runs the football, when he gets the football in his hand and starts running. It's kind of fun to watch. It's really comical how much he looks like him wearing 85 as well. He's going to be the replacement of Tyler Warren in the passing game. Talking about the run game, our technical tight end number 1 is Khalil Dinkins. He's been here for 5 years now, is a dirty, filthy run blocker, loves to bury dudes, has fun while he's doing it, and he'll get a little bit involved in the passing game. Andrew Rappelier was also high 4-star guy, tore up his knee actually right before the Bowling Green game, right before week 2, so didn't get to see a lot of him this year. That is someone that also loves to block. He wants to fight people, classic hothead tight end will just wants to take your head off. And then we also have Andrew Olish, 5-star, basically a wide receiver, but he's listed as a tight end, but 5-star tight end coming in. It's all there. The talent's there. Ty Howell is just going to have fun with it this year. Kotelnicki, let's see how he can scheme them in. But I expect Luke Reynolds and Drew Aller. There's going to be lot of love there. I'm excited for that one. But once again, yeah, the tight end room is in great hands for Penn State. We call them the aces over here, William. And God, they would burn up those shit linebackers you have over Clemson. Again, there goes monetization. It's all right.
Listen, that was ended in the intro. I do love Luke Reynolds. I want to give him a shout out. I love watching him play. I love watching him play sparingly last year. Just watching Tyler Warren was my favorite. So if anybody's backing him up, I mean, I got to like them too. And as a tight end in high school, other shoulder, my favorite position, not even close. 82, Jason Witten. Love watching the tight ends. That's why I've kind of had a soft spot for Penn State for most of my life until recently. Their Twitter people have pissed me off. So I like to kind of, poke them in a little bit. But the tight end room for Clemson is probably the most unproven room. I would say even more so than the running backs. And we have a guy in Olsen Pat Henry who everybody thought was going to be the starter, but and he might still be. I have a guy in Christian Bentoncourt who is a 4-star out of Illinois, I believe. So he's a Midwest guy, came to Clemson, and everything I've heard is that he is the hardest working player on the team. He watches more film, he works out harder, he runs more than anybody out there. I just think he's going to will his way into the starting lineup, and I think he's going to be one of those dudes. He's going to be a Jordan Leggett. He's going to be a Dwayne Allen. I just have high hopes for him. Watching him transform his body from last year to this year, Christian Bentoncourt, I think, is going to end up being the starter. He's 6'4", 250, I believe is how he's listed now, 245. I think he's closer to 250. The dude just plays tough. He run blocks. He plays like a Midwesterner. He loves to run block. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to let the first person in his way let him know that he's there. Just love watching him play. Olsen Pat Henry is more of a receiving tight end, but he's really good at it. And he came on late last year making some plays in our 2 tight end sets when we would do Jake Brenningstool and Olsen Pat Henry. So really, really, really like what he can do in the receiving game. I mean, he's a decent blocker too. He's got some butt to him, got some girth. So you want to see that in your tight ends, so they're not afraid to stick their nose in there. Brenningstool didn't quite have that. He was more of a receiving threat. You kind of knew we were going to throw the ball and he was out there. We also have Josh Sapp. Josh Sapp is a legacy guy. His dad, Ricky Sapp, played in the league, played with the Jets. He was a defensive end. Josh Sapp is another guy. He's similar build in Olsen Pat Henry, but he's kind of small. I think he's 6'1" or 6'2". But the dude just sticks his nose in there. He is a guy who's not afraid to hit you in the mouth. He's more of an H-back. He'll play the fullback position. He's not going to put his hand in the dirt as often as the other two. And then another guy that I just want to talk about, shout out to Ian Shefflin, the chef, all ACC basketball player, coming over to play some football this year. So he was about to have to learn to speak Chinese. He was going to go play in the Chinese basketball league. And he's like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. Let me give this college football thing a shot. Dabo loved watching him play. I don't know if y'all watch any college basketball. This dude is one of the toughest, grittiest players on the court. And if you ever turn on the Clemson game, that is what the announcers will say over and over and over and over again. 6'8", 245 pounds. He's in a freaking weight room now. I don't think we'll see him that much. I honestly think he's there to be seen by scouts. Scouts come to practice just for, to peel the curtain back. Scouts come to practice. They watch the guys. They want to see what Ian Shefflin can do. Well, they can see him at practice. And then when he goes to work out the combine, they can see him there. So I don't think he's going to get much playing time, but if he does, that'd be freaking cool to see him play. So that's our tight end room. Oh, and then Keith Brooking's son, Logan Brooking. Keith Brooking in Atlanta Falcons, great. We got his son coming in at tight end as well.
This one's pretty obvious. Penn State. I think we all kind of knew where that one was going. Appreciate your whole monologue about how basketball players are going to play for Clemson football this year, though.
I love it. I've been recruiting him for years.
It's not moving the needle for me. I'm sorry.
You ever heard of Jimmy Graham? Ever heard of Antonio Gates? Ever heard of Julius Peppers?
Antonio Gates didn't even play football until he got to the NFL. He didn't play football in college, which is crazy.
Who's that?
Antonio Gates did not play football until he got to the NFL and is now considered one of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Y'all heard it here first. Ian Shefflin is already better than Antonio Gates. So Jake is already saying that Ian Shefflin is going to be better than Antonio Gates.
All right,
Yeah, maybe at the NFL level.
Yeah, make sure to clip that out for sure.
Good luck beating that, Landon.
All right, we're going to see. This is what we've all been waiting for. I think this is the first time we have a true argument.
Yeah. Yeah, quarterback here. So Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik. I don't think I really have to dive in too much of this. If you don't know who the two of them are at this point, I'm sorry, then this probably isn't the right thing for you to be watching. No offense. But if you don't know who...
They didn't make it to 44-minute mark at our 40-minute mark. They don't know Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller are.
Hey, and you're not a walk-on. You're not a walk-on. You don't have that grit to you.
All right, I'll let we'll go visitors first. So we'll get home team go second. So William, go on. Talk about Cade.
So the first thing I want to say, last year, Cade Klubnik put up 3,600 yards passing, 500 yards rushing. So he had over 4,000 total yards of offense. Threw for 36 touchdowns, ran for 7, and only threw 6 picks. And the last 10 years, there's been 8 players to do that. Cade Klubnik included. So 7 other players to have 4,000 total yards, 40-plus touchdowns, and less than 10 turnovers. All of them either won the Heisman or were the Heisman runner-up. Cade Klubnik is the only player in the past however long to put up those numbers and not even get invited to New York. I'm talking Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, what's the cat? Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. I mean, I'm talking dudes, and Cade Klubnik, his name is in with those dudes. When Cade Klubnik is at his best, he is a dog. You turn on the Texas tape, especially in the second half. Obviously, App State is App State, but you want to see that how cerebral he was. They put up 56 points and a half against App State. You don't do that, and most of them were through the air. You go and you watch Virginia Tech where he's breaking tackles. Cade Klubnik put on 20 pounds last year to be able to break more tackles. The biggest jump I saw in his game was he wasn't getting taken down with the first guy. He can actually run the football. He is an athlete. He's not some guy that is he's athletic, he can get out of the pocket. No, Cade Klubnik can run the football. Turn on the Pitt game where he ran for 50 yards to win the game. Turn on the NC State game where he ran for 50 yards to start the game off in scoring. Turn on the Stanford game where he ran for another 50-yard touchdown. The dude knows how to move the ball. He's got dudes all over the receiving core now, and he's even got a wide receiver playing running back. So he's got a chance to throw for over 4,000 yards this year. I really believe it. I think he can even 4,500 yards. He's up there as one of the top passers in Clemson history. People like to give him trash because he started so young as a player and struggled as a true freshman, as a true sophomore, struggled. Junior year, he looked okay. He looked great, I thought. Started taking steps. You'd have games like the South Carolina game where he'd take a step back. You'd have a game like a Pitt game where he had a great first half, bad second half. He finally started to do it towards the end of the year. In the ACC championship game, looked pretty good, threw 3 touchdowns. And against Texas, he threw 3 touchdowns. So he's got it. He's played in big games. He's done it in big games. All he's got to do is start stacking these consistently, and he could be the number 1 overall draft pick next year. That's not me being a homer. That's what the talk going on with who he is. You play quarterback as a premium position. If you're the best quarterback in college football, you could be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I honestly think Cade Klubnik has the ability to be that guy.
Cade Klubnik is going to have more yards than Drew Aller. Yes, that is because you got those great wide receivers over there. And also, you're not going to run the ball that much because your running backs are horse shit. So,
as of right now, as we sit here and record this, here's my take on this. Drew Aller is the most gifted quarterback in all of college football. If he can play how he played, I'll say against Boise State, I'm already kind of regretting that statement, putting out one of the worst defenses in all of college football. I mentioned App State. We're good.
That's a fair point. If Drew Aller can play how he's played in certain games, like Oregon had a really good game, I think he also can be the number 1 overall pick and that number 1 quarterback off the board just because of the intangibles that he has, the arm strength, the accuracy, the placement. The biggest question around Drew Aller is just, can he show up in those biggest moments? And that's obviously no one has the answer to that. We're going to have to wait and see. But like I said, everything's there. You talk about Cade improving in his running ability. That's something Drew Aller improved upon in ton. He kind of had that like baby fat coming into last year, and kind of took that off. West Virginia week 1, he ran for like 3 or 4 third down conversions when nothing was open. Nothing was open all year long, unfortunately, for Drew Aller. So, especially against Ohio State. So he had to do a lot. But guess what he has, William? He has that new revamped wide receiver room. And I think he's really excited about Trevor Pena, Kyron Hudson, and the boys. I think it's going to be a really good year for Drew Aller. Like I said, year 2 of Kotelnicki's offense as well. You cannot underestimate what that jump from year 1 to year 2, where you get that comfortableness with your OC. You got to feel for each other. He's going to call Drew some great games. I have all the confidence in the world in Drew Aller. Let's see if he can get it done. That is
Let me counter that. Let me counter that right now. So your highlight was the fact that he's got a new revamped receiver room.
Correct.
Cade Klubnik does not have a new receiver room, but he's got dudes in there. So they've been together for 3 years, 2 years with the young guys. So that's my counter to that. Then you talk about Kotelnicki being with Drew Aller for 2 years. Cade Klubnik's finally been with the same offensive coordinator for 3 years. We have Garrett Riley, who's back, a talented guy. I think Andy Kotelnicki's been there longer. Garrett Riley still has a lot to prove. But I just want to counter those points right there with what Cade Klubnik has. Listen, I know Jake gave a face when I said he could be the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm going to clip that.
He's not going to be the number 1 draft pick.
Who's going to be the number 1 draft pick, Jake?
I'm not going to disclose that, but Caleb Downs. Sure, why not? I don't know.
Ooh. Are we just going to turn this into a conversation?
You got to think about what we're doing here, Jake. So I'm not saying
I have pushback to both of you, actually.
I'm not saying he's the best player in the draft. I'm saying he could go number 1 overall.
So I have pushback to both of you because William, for one, like last year, 2 of Klubnik's worst games were actually 3 of his worst games were for sure losses, including South Carolina and Georgia, where he just not look good at all.
Well, that South Carolina loss, be ashamed of that. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough one. And when you're talking about at that point, like playoff hopes were on the line, and they still obviously made it because the ACC championship, but final game before the ACC championship, it didn't look good. Similarly, Drew Aller, like in some of those biggest games, he didn't look great. Now I know Oregon, he ended up looking pretty good towards middle end. There were some portions there where he made some really good throws. Boise, I know you put out a video. He made some great throws, and the receivers just didn't catch it. But then there were also times throughout the year, Ohio State just looked lost at times. Notre Dame, same thing. There were times where it just didn't look like it fully clicked. Both of these guys have insane talent levels, and it's just about being able to put it all together. The one point you did make, Landon, and I 100% agree with this, that Cade Klubnik is going to have more receiving yards, and I think part of that is also going to be the schedule. Penn State has an easier schedule, I think, especially early in the year, where they're either going to pad the stats or they're going to get the guys out early, where he's not going to throw for 300 yards in the first 3 games, because when you're up 40-0 by halftime, how much more are you going to be throwing the ball in the second half, for instance? So I think Klubnik's stats are going to look better, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the better quarterback this year. So for me, when I look at both of these, I don't know who is better. I think Klubnik's a hair more proven, but I think Aller has way better attributes when you talk about his ceiling. I think Drew Aller's ceiling is higher for what he is and what he can do.
So I want to counter that too. Actually, I can't counter a ceiling conversation.
It's fully opinion based.
Yeah, I was like, wait, yeah, I can't do that.
Just because of the ceiling, I will give it to Aller, but that I say that on a scale of 1 to 10 in confidence, I put that at like a 2. So
wow, this
not
is
confident in that.
He's got to show up. Hopefully he shows up in Columbus, Jake. That's what I'm hoping for. Sorry,
he might. If it's this year, I'm fine with it. They won a national championship, so
Fair.
I mean, I'm good for a little while. So 2 last pieces before we get done here. Offensive coordinator Kotelnicki versus Garrett Riley. Garrett Riley, I think a lot of people forget, was a Broyles Award winner just recently. When TCU went to the national championship, comes over from TCU. He's entering his third season, right? Am I counting that number right? Entering his 3rd season there. Kotelnicki entering his second season, obviously comes over from Kansas, had one of the most innovative offenses with Lance Leipold, big friend of the walk-on red shirts. Love Lance Leipold. But Kotelnicki comes over from Kansas, kind of helps reinvent that offense. They did all sorts of crazy stuff. Year 2, it just feels like it's going to continue to trend upward. I mean, why are your guys' offensive coordinators going to continue to expand, and what should we expect out of them, I guess, more this year? Landon, I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think the biggest thing is that we're just going to have so much balance. There's going to be so much balance in the fact that Drew Aller is going to figure it out with those wide receivers and those tight ends. As we said, he is one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football. Yes, he needs to put it together more in those big games, but still, you have that. Then you have the best offensive line. We'll call him the best offensive line and the best running back duo in all of college football. That's easy to work with. It doesn't get much easier than that. Like I said, as long as these receivers are somewhat competent, Andy Kotelnicki is sitting at home salivating, watching tape. Leave it there. He's also one creative MFer. I'll tell you what, it's fun to watch.
Sometimes it's downfall.
I don't disagree with that. There was definitely times where the fan base was not happy on Twitter. You want to talk about Penn State Twitter? Watch Kotelnicki run like a swing gate pass to Tyler Warren, and it loses 5 yards against Notre Dame. Fans weren't happy with that one. But listen, I do agree with that, but I think he's going to be a little bit smarter in year 2. There's not going to be as much over-the-top cuteness of just being too creative. I think he's going to be smart with his creativity.
Yeah, in year 3, he's our year 2, year 3.
Year 2.
Yeah, he's also growing and learning the system and learning his players, and so I mean that's expected. He was excellent at Kansas, and I think he's just I truly like him as one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. I think he's phenomenal. Garrett Riley, you want to talk about a guy who's cut his teeth at TCU, took Max Duggan, and I'm forgetting the wide receiver. Who was the stud wide receiver with Max Duggan?
Quentin Johnston.
Sucks on the Chargers, yeah.
Johnston. Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnston. Just took that team. They went to the college football playoff, beat Michigan, which was a great game. Got boat raced by Georgia. Comes over to Clemson in the middle of the night. Nobody expected it. Nobody else calling it. He had just won the Broyles Award. Came out of nowhere. First year struggled, but he's grown as Cade has grown. So if you want to talk about what he can do that can improve this team, if we can see the running game improve and be consistent, I think I'll be happy. I don't think, and maybe this is ignorant of me to say, I don't think you're going to see any sort of step backwards in the receiving game. I don't think you can. I think it's too deep. It's too talented. If everybody's healthy, the receiving game is going to take care of itself. You've got guys who are just going to get open no matter what the scheme is, in my opinion. The running game is where we're going to see who Garrett Riley is as an offensive coordinator. If he can produce a 4 yard a carry, 5 yard a carry guy back with this backfield on this offense, I think this offense can be unstoppable. So he's got the talent. I want to see him take the next step with the running game. I think he can. I think he will. I'm truly, truly excited to see what Garrett Riley can do here. I mean, outside of him being a Broyles winner and improving Clemson's offense year after year since he's been there, I don't really have another argument for him. He can't fix the defense.
I'm siding with Kotelnicki here. I think he's just one of the brightest offensive minds in college football. I do think sometimes he's a little too cute with his play calls. I think some of them are just, a little too gadgety. I understand why you do that at Kansas because you don't have necessarily the talent. But at Penn State, I don't think you need to be as gadgety as cute because you can actually man up and, beat guys 1v1. And then finally,
I try to rig it in my favor. I get Jake over here mediating, and I'm losing.
Well, here's the last one. I think you might have an edge on this one. So finally, head coach James Franklin, Dabo Swinney. One's got 2 national championships. The other one, but hasn't. I think I read he's lost 14 games over the last 4 seasons. So he's lost at least 3 games in the last 4 seasons, but he does have those 2 national championships. A little bit of a step down, makes it back to the playoff. James Franklin feels like it's at the highest point has been in his career so far, nearly making the national championship. William, I mean, it's Dabo versus Franklin. I mean, I feel like I'll let you go here.
I mean, so you talk about the 2 national championships. Who did they beat in the national championship?
Michigan State.
No, it was Alabama. We beat the bad man. We beat Nick Saban twice. Dabo has a 500 record against Nick Saban during his tenure at Clemson. Just phenomenal head coach against the GOAT. I mean, let's be honest. Nick Saban is the GOAT. You want to talk about who he beat? Urban Meyer on the winning streak, had the undefeated team in Ohio State. Shut him out, 31-0. I ended up having a streak because of that. My now wife, we were dating not very long at that point, and I said, if we
they lost a game that year, by the way.
Oh, you're right. Doesn't matter. They had a really good offense.
I told my wife kick that they lost on.
I told my wife I would streak if we shut them out. We beat them 31-0, and I ran around my parents' house butt naked. I'm talking outside. Ran around outside naked. So shout out to my wife.
Sounds like the police should have been called.
They should have been. They should have been. I was
what do you think the statute of limitations is on that?
Yeah, we're gonna figure that one out, Jake. We might have to send the police over.
You know what? The police did show up, but I got off on lack of evidence.
They couldn't see.
Oh, you said the part of it. You said the quiet part out loud.
Thank you, Landon. That's highbrow humor for you folks out there. This is why Jake picked Penn State. Because he didn't get the small penis joke. Anyway, Dabo's beaten the bad man twice. Sorry, Landon. I know this is on your show. We can edit this out if you need to. Dabo's beaten the bad man twice. He's beaten Oklahoma. He's beaten Notre Dame. He's beaten Ohio State multiple times. He's beaten South Carolina, not last year, but he has. He's beaten Georgia. Like, he's beaten LSU. He's beaten dudes. He's beaten greats. He's beaten Nick Saban. He's beaten Steve. He beat Steve Spurrier once. Sorry, I almost misspoke. Beat Urban Meyer. Beat Ryan Day. I mean, just all these great coaches he's gone toe-to-toe with and has beaten. And then you want to talk about his model. Landon's been getting mad because I talk about all these 5 stars. Clemson's not competing with Texas and Florida and Georgia and all these big-time SEC schools in the NIL realm. They're not. They don't have that type of funding, and still we're able to get some of these dudes. Why?
God.
Thank you. That's it. It's the tithe, baby. But Dabo is who he is on the camera, off the camera. He's authentic, and I think that wins people over. He shoots it straight. He tells it to you straight. I've had a lot of hard truths been told to me by Dabo that I did not want to hear, but they were the truth. The guy can coach. The guy can connect. He's in great standing with all the NIL people. We've improved the NIL funding there. He's dipped his toes into the portal. He's been who he was. He keeps his talent. He retains his guys. The guy is just he's done it in almost every era. If he wins in this era, if we win the national championship in this transfer portal 12-team playoff NIL era, I mean, I don't know how many people can argue against him as being a top 5 coach of all time. And I am biased, but you take a Clemson program who was happy to win 7 games. I mean, it was a great year if they won 7 games, went to a bowl game. To now, people are calling for his head when he wins 10 games. They want him gone when he only wins 10 games. That is the culture he has set at Clemson. Everybody's spoiled now. We're starting to turn to Ohio State where it's quiet when we're playing Nebraska and we're playing freaking Penn State at home. It's still quiet. Just kidding, throwing some shade because I'm hurt. I'm hurt right now because I lost this competition. But he has built something at Clemson that has made us a national, iconic. What's the word I'm looking for, Jake? Logo, representation, marketing system that everyone can recognize.
Brand.
Thank you, Landon. Thank you. Take it from the NIL athlete himself that he can say the word brand.
I made very few NIL dollars, to be fair. All right. I was super. Let's talk about that with Jake before you got on while William was trying to put his kids to bed. It was really sad. I just missed out on the good money. I didn't realize before. I forgot. Like, Dabo's been to 4 natties, 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Were you in 2 of those, William? Huh?
I was on the first one. I should have been on the second one too. I tell my wife all the time that I traded my national championship ring for a wedding ring. I ended up going to get my master's instead of using my last year of eligibility. Wasn't playing too much. So, yeah, I screwed up. When I played one more year, I would have got it.
That's all right. That's quite all right. I'm honestly, after I looked up Dabo's coaching record before this, and I'm kind of with you in the fact that I think he could go down as one of the greatest ever if he were able to pull out a one more natty here in this new age college football. Look, for James Franklin, I can't consciously say that he can, that he has Dabo right now. Obviously, as of recent, he has been better than Dabo. But when someone's been to 4 national championships, and unfortunately James Franklin's been to none, hard for me to argue that. Can he change the narrative this year? Yes. We have Oregon week 5, whiteout. We have Ohio State. I believe that's week 9, I think. It's right day after Halloween. It's going to get real spooky up in Columbus. If he can win those 2 games, and then who knows, it's a really high ceiling for us this year. If he loses either one of those games, unfortunately, I feel like short of winning the national championship, that label is just going to stick with them. Everybody, we've all heard it. I heard it even when I was a player, big game James, and he just, I think they actually put that on the cover of it's like the New York Times. It was one of those. It was a big newspaper. They wrote basically a hit piece, and it was just the title was Big Game James, and I'm like, damn, got to deal with that. Kids got to see that. No, but I would love nothing more for James Franklin to finally taste sweet, sweet victory this year, and now's the year to do it. There is no true juggernaut in college football this year where you're coming in where there's the Georgia, the Bama, or the Clemson of the 2010s where it's like, God, how do you even beat those guys? I don't think there's any team that has that this year. If anything, I guess you could almost say would maybe even be Penn State with the talent and the it's a lot of older guys. We have the best coaching staff. A lot of people are saying we got the best coordinator combo. It is all there for the taking. If James Franklin can't get it done this year, I don't know when he gets it done, Jake.
Yeah. Hey, I will say James Franklin is 1-0 in Paper Wars. Dabo is 0-1 in Paper Wars. So James Franklin does have him in the Paper Wars.
Let's go.
That's the important thing. The important thing. Yeah, I think Dabo gets the win here. And like you said, if he finds a way to win in the 12-team playoff and gets his 3rd national championship, he's right there with a lot of the greats. So.
And I also want to say this too, to support James Franklin a little bit. The dude made Vanderbilt a good team. The dude has made Penn State consistently good every single year. They want Josh Pate puts it perfectly. Everyone says James Franklin's overrated. No, I think he's properly rated. I think he's right where he should be. I think he is a good coach. I think he's maybe even a great coach. If he wins a national championship, he gets his name included in those conversations as one of the best coaches in college football. Period. And to go back onto the talent thing, you talk about Penn State being a loaded roster, Clemson's a loaded roster. There's a lot of loaded rosters out there, but the one thing that Clemson and Penn State has that a lot of those other blue bloods don't is a quarterback that's coming back. Ohio State does not. Notre Dame does not. Alabama does not. Georgia does not. So all these big time schools that you're used to seeing in the playoff every single year does not have their guy coming back paired with a very talented roster. Penn State and Clemson have that, which is what sparked this conversation right here.
I love it. Well, I guess that wraps it up here. Nice hour-long conversation here between the boys.
And we talked about it all.
We talked about everything. If you somehow stayed and managed to find the end of this video, make sure you go subscribe and check out the defensive breakdown, I guess you could call it, that we did it over on the Walk On Red Shirts channel. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. We're definitely going to have to get some in-season content going for the boys. So
absolutely.
That's right.
We'll get that going for sure. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
See you.